Hi folks, Thomas Henson here with thomashenson.com, and today is another episode of Book Review. So hope everybody enjoys these book reviews. Let me know if there's a book that you'd like me to read and review, or if you're tired of seeing these instead of data engineering courses. So hopefully that you enjoy these, and a lot of these books are outside of what we would look at from a data engineering perspective, but there's always some kind of technology tie-in. And so today's book is The Long Tail. And so this was written by Chris Anderson in 2006, I believe, is when it was originally published. The premise of this book is talking about long tail economics. So what is really going on with the internet age and in the era of infinite choice. And so what we mean by infinite choice is, think about if you go to your biggest store, so think of Best Buy or Walmart, and you're going to look at DVDs, or maybe you're going to look at CDs, or books at Books A Million. So it just applies to brick and mortar stores versus your traditional online resellers. And so the premise and what it really talks about and digs in from an economic side is, you look at what's available in stores, and you're always hamstrung and stuck there with how many different choices you can have available. And so if you think about it from Walmart's perspective or Best Buy's perspective, they have shelves that have, maybe throughout the year you can put the top 1,000 or maybe even 10,000 DVDs listed on there, right? And so the sales from those are going to be pretty high, right? You only want to have those blockbusters. You want to have that shelf space where maybe it's the newest Avengers, or maybe it's Deadpool 2, or whatever the newest, hottest DVD is. The sales from those is really what drives and really what keeps the profit going for that specific segment of DVDs. But then you look at what Amazon was able to do in the early 2000s or late 90s, is they offered infinite choices. They said, hey, we're going to, instead of giving you the top 1,000 or 10,000, we're going to give you 20,000 or 40,000, or how many ever DVDs or books or, whatever we're looking for is going to encompass. And so the sales from those long tails, so if you took the top 10,000 or the top 1,000, the sales from everything outside of that is going to be at least the same or even more than those top thousands. So what they're saying is, like, you're leaving, retailers are leaving a lot of money potentially on the table, but they can't do anything about it because they have to have the physical product, right? They have to bring the product in. They can't give infinite choices. And so for a long time, this has been played out, right? This is, if you think about, your niche or little boutique, even video stores back in the day, or bookstores that are going to have all these different infinite choices that are outside of what the big retailers are looking for. And so you've had that for a long time, but even then you're still hamstrung, and you can only give what you have shelf space for. And so this is where the long tail really comes in around digitization. So now we live in a world where choice is infinite versus finite, right? When we're talking about the shelf space, because of what we just said, the digitization. What it does is it creates new niches, new groups. So think about this channel here, Big Data, Big Questions, where I'm able to talk about data engineers, people that are interested in data engineering and what's going on with big data, right? And so this gives me an opportunity to have, a niche and a platform to be able to talk about these things that are not going to get, I'm not going to be on ABC. I'm not going to be on, even some of, any of the networks or anything like that. But I have a platform here when we think about it, because of the ability to, host this out on YouTube, and to be able to have my own little, website where I have a channel where I can talk about all these things, and it helps people attract in and helps you grow that. And so the same thing, on a larger scale. So not that Big Data, Big Questions isn't big. There are a lot larger groups and niches around there than Big Data, Big Questions, but you can see that those wouldn't be available whether it not for long tail economics and just the way that we have platforms and digitization. And so this is pretty cool whenever you start to look at it from just a content perspective, but there's also a big data twist. So the big data twist is that in the world of infinite choice, search is king, right? If you can't find Big Data, Big Questions, if you can't find my channel or the book that you're looking for, then, or even the new groups and discussion boards, and just there's so many different areas for you to get involved in things. But if you can't find those, then you're not really building that culture, right? How do you know whenever you might find even something even a little bit deeper? So we're talking about search here, and you're interested in Big Data, Big Questions, and this is where we start talking about recommendation engines, right? So with YouTube being able to recommend, or even Google being able to recommend different pages or different groups that you might like because you like Big Data, Big Questions, you might find another area or another group that you want to go down and learn more about. Maybe it's search, right? Maybe there's somebody that does a channel just fully dedicated to Elasticsearch or Splunk, or just the intricacies of recommendation engines, right? All because of something that you've seen here. And so, everybody in your audience or everybody that reads a certain book is not always going to be go down into another subset or a subgroup, but that's kind of the way it goes. And so you have that choice now where we didn't really have it before. And so one of the ways that we would do it before, if you think about it, if I wanted to build out this channel, or I wanted to build out, a group for data engineers, what I would do is I'd probably have to tour the country, right? Doing some big data meetups and just kind of traveling in and trying to build a group there. Maybe I start a mailing list, right? So not an email mailing list, which I do have, thomashenson.com. Having the ability to go around the country and do that, it'd be kind of hard, right? And, there'd be a lot of times where wouldn't really have a lot of people showing up to a lot of the meetups. But instead, I'm able to turn a camera on here and talk about those things. And it's all possible because of the long tail, right? There's a reason that YouTube is allowing for people to upload content, right? There is value in that, in the long tail. So you can see, as certain channels, and like I said, there's channels that are larger than mine that they're just a subset of groups, right? Not everybody would be able to watch that. Not everybody would want to see that on ABC or NBC or any of the big networks or even cable or even Netflix, right? So it's just the ability there. So the big data twist, like I said, is in search and recommendation engines, and that's why those are so popular. So would I recommend the book? This is a little bit hard. When I first started looking at the book, I was really looking for something around strategy. So I was like, hey, this may be something about strategy for long tails. And sadly, it's not about that. It's more about the economics and kind of the history of how long tails were created and just an overview of what long tail economics are as it pertains to any kind of content or, anything actually, any kind of market. Think about where we're going with 3D printing or with drones or anything like that. Like there are so many subgroups and subgroups that can be created with it. So it's a good book to find out and understand kind of the history and some of the overall arching details, and I won't say laws, right? They're not particularly laws, I don't think yet, but they're kind of concepts around how long tails work and what some, mechanisms are for having those kind of filter through and work. However, if you're looking for something around strategy for long tails, this is not going to be a book for you. But all in all, it was a pretty good book. It took me a little bit of time to read it because I did put it down and pick it back up. Like I said, I was originally thinking it might be something around a strategy, but it was not. But definitely check it out if you're interested in how long tails work. And it's one of those books that it's good to have read. But if you're specifically looking for something strategy and something that you can start working with right now, this is not going to be that book. Until next time, see you again.